o'clock striking, 7 o'clock striking.
Good evening and welcome to the Thursday, February the 8th, 2018 regular session of the Xenia City Council. We are ready to begin our meeting this evening, but first we will have an invocation led by Associate Pastor Mike Hancock from the Xenia Nazarene Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilman Dale Louderback. If you would rise with me, please, for the invocation and pledge.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we're thankful that as we gather in this place, we know that your presence is with us because you promised in your word that you would never leave us or forsake us. And we're thankful for your blessings in all of our lives and in our community. We're thankful, Lord, for your leadership. As we turn to you, you've promised to give us wisdom that will be added to our knowledge. You've promised to give us compassion that will be added to our justice. And you can help us to put into action the things that we intend to do. I pray that you'll bless this council, our mayor, our city manager, our directors, and all of our employees. I pray that you'll bless the businesses of our community, our churches, our schools, our neighborhoods, our citizens. And Lord, may Xenia be a model city where everyone is welcome and where there's progress and unity as we move forward. May we always look to you for the help and strength that you can give us. Bless this meeting tonight and help all of these folks that are empowered to make decisions to be guided in a divine way. We're thankful that you hear our prayer, and we pray this prayer in the name of the one the ancient writer called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, and Prince of Peace. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Pastor Hancock and Councilman Louderback. May I have roll call, please?
Vice President Wallace.
Present.
Councilman Scrivens.
Present.
Councilman Louderback.
Here.
Councilman Smith.
Here.
Councilman Dean.
Here.
Mayor Mays.
Here.
President Engel.
Here. Thank you. May I have a motion, please, for our first approval of minutes, January 25th, 2018 special meeting, please.
So moved.
Moved by the mayor. Second, please.
Second.
Seconded by the vice president. Any discussion or question on this set of minutes, please? Seeing none, roll call.
Vice President Wallace.
Aye.
Councilman Scrivens.
Aye.
Councilman Louderback.
Aye.
Councilman Smith.
Aye.
Councilman Dean.
Aye.
Mayor Mays.
Aye.
President Engel.
Aye.
Motion carried.
And now a motion, please, for our January 25th, 2018 regular session.
Motion.
Moved by Councilman, excuse me, Scrivens. Second, please.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Dean. Discussion or question on the motion, please.
He's having a good day.
Seeing none, roll call, please.
Vice President Wallace.
Aye.
Councilman Scrivens.
Aye.
Councilman Louderback.
Aye.
Councilman Smith.
Aye.
Councilman Dean.
Aye.
Mayor Mays.
Aye.
President Engel.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you very much. At this time, we have an opportunity for a special presentation by Mr. Scott Hallis, representing the Xenia Daily Gazette.
Thank you for letting me speak tonight. I'll be very brief because Duke, North Carolina played 8 o'clock and I'd like to see that game. I'm Scott Hallis, Xenia Gazette, 1836 West Park Square. The reason I asked for some time to speak tonight is just to kind of talk very briefly about our role that the newspaper has in the city of Xenia. I've seen some things on social media, why wasn't the Gazette here, or hey, where was the Gazette, or something like that. And I just want to briefly talk about, the newspaper role has changed. The days of having 10, 15 people in a newsroom, those days are over. We have 5 people in our newsroom. One of them is full-time sports. So that leaves 4 of us to handle 2 dailies and a weekly. So when it comes to City of Xenia, I'm it. I also have to cover Spring Valley, Cedarville, Jamestown, Xenia Township, down in Bellbrook, and even in Beaver Creek at times. So I obviously can't be everywhere at once. So what I'm hoping for the folks at home who are watching and here in the audience, I'm hoping we can almost come to a little bit of a partnership where people out there can kind of be our eyes and ears for us. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook. We have several emails. I'm asking folks to help us fill the newspaper. You know, be our reporters out there, our amateur reporters. If you see something, if you know of something coming up in the city, you know, don't forget about us. You know, I always see that we're the first one to get criticized for something, but we're always the last one to know about that. So we're kind of hoping to change that. We're going to speak at every municipality in the county here in the coming weeks, asking the residents for the same thing. Help us. You know, we want to be your newspaper of record. We want to be your source, your first choice for local news. We want to do it fairly. We want to do it, you know, completely. But we hope that folks out there will help us. If you see something out of the ordinary, you know, tag us on Twitter. Hey, there's a big police presence over on Galloway Street, or, you know, I noticed the FBI raided a house or something, you know, because we don't have scanners. We don't have a breaking news team. We're not like the Metro newspapers. We have people 24/7. We're usually out of there by 6 or 6:30. You know, we're limited on hours unless there's a meeting like I'm at tonight. You know, we're not around. So a lot of things happen when it gets dark. After hours, we can't be everywhere. So I'm just hoping the folks out there keep that in mind. And, you know, we have an email. Always email us at editor@xeniagazette.com for those of you watching at home. My direct phone number can also be used, and that's 502-4507. My voicemail goes right to my email. So I'm sitting at home at 9:30, something's going on in town square, you call me, leave me a message, I'll have that voicemail within a few minutes. I may not be able to be there, but at least I'll know to follow up on something. Because if I don't know to follow up on something, you know, I can't do it. We want to bring people the news, we want to do it the right way and the fair way, but we need to know about things that are going on, because we can't be somewhere if we don't know about it. So we talked about it at an editorial meeting. We kind of want to reach out to everybody, the cities, the townships, all the residents in our county, and just let them know, you know, we're still here. We want to get you all the local news that you guys want to see. I don't want this to sound like I'm begging for subscriptions, because I'm not. Although, you know, it would always be nice to have that increase, but that's not why I'm here. I'm here because I want to try and, you know, come to let's work together. Let's help, you know, help the local paper. Just like everyone says, buy local, shop local. You know, keep in mind the local paper when you see things happening and you know things are going on. So that's all I wanted to say. If you have any questions or anything, I'm happy to answer.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, please? Councilman?
What was that phone number again?
937.
I'm just. Are you sure you want to give out your phone number?
That's goes right to my desk. I don't care. 502-4507.
Okay.
Call me.
All right, thank you.
We do have caller ID though, so.
That's good. Don't expect it to see anonymous.
Any other questions, please? Thank you very
Great,
much,
thanks.
Scott.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Mr.
sir.
City Manager, excuse me, as Mr. Acting City Manager, could you please ask Michelle Johnson to reach out to Scott, and perhaps we can have a short item running on our channel that asks citizens if they see something, please call the Daily Gazette and provide some contact information to assist with getting the word out. Thank you. This time we have an opportunity for audience comments. Anyone wishing to come and address the Xenia City Council, please feel free to do so. Please step to the podium, provide us your name and address. Limit your comments 4 to 5 minutes, please.
Please. My name is Brenda Muterspaw. I live at 597 Sutton Drive, Xenia, Ohio. I was here last week. I didn't want to make a person feel bad that was filling the seat for the city council that was just recently filled. You guys had the ceremony last week. What I have to say isn't directed to that person. It is directed to the city council. My personal thing that I wanted to say, and you guys are probably thinking, oh God, do we have to go there again? Well, I've been frustrated. I know it's past us. I can't change anything. But for me, that seat, you know, did belong to Billy Carrico. We had a ballot. We recently that we were able to vote. And those people that were on that ballot, you know, they had to go out and get 100 signatures to be on that ballot. They just didn't get to put their hands in the air and say, "Pick me, Mr. Cotter." Once they were on the ballot, of course, they had to go out and win the votes, tell people what they stood for, gave us opportunity to vote the way we wanted to. And I know that Billy was the third one on that list. What we do behind closed doors and how things work, I don't know how they work, but to me, it just told me common sense that she was next on that list. I don't know if it's our personal agenda or city council has a lot of power, but I do feel that it was wrong and it was shady. And that's just my personal opinion, and I just wanted to state that. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else care to come and address the Xenia City Council this evening, please? Thank you. We will move to our section on old business for the council meeting this evening. First, we have ordinance 2018-04, a second reading, amending sections 1234.02B and 2, 1236.10C3, and 1244.02 of the City of Xenia Land Development Code, which was introduced by Councilman Smith. And Madam Law Director, do you have any additional commentary, please?
I do not.
Thank you.
Thank you. Move for passage, Mr. President.
Thank you. Move for passage by Councilman Smith. Second, please.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Latterback. Discussion or question on the motion, please. Seeing none, roll call.
Vice President Wallace.
Aye.
Councilman Scrivens.
Aye.
Councilman Lauterbach.
Aye.
Councilman Smith.
Aye.
Councilman Dean.
Aye.
Mayor Mays.
Aye.
President Engel.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Next, we have ordinance 2018-05, a second reading, accepting the dedicated streets in the Village of Sterling Green subdivision, which was originally introduced by Councilman Latterback. Madam Law Director, any additional commentary on this item?
I have no additional commentary unless you have any questions for me.
Thank you.
Move for passage.
Move for passage by Councilman Latterback. Second, please.
Second.
Seconded by the Vice President. Discussion or question on this motion, please. Seeing none, roll call.
Vice President Wallace.
Aye.
Councilman Scrivens.
Aye.
Councilman Lauterbach.
Aye.
Councilman Smith.
Aye.
Councilman Dean.
Aye.
Mayor Mays.
Aye.
President Engel.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Next, we have Resolution 2018-C, a second reading, adopting the City of Xenia's natural gas aggregation plan of operation and governance, introduced by Vice President Wallace. Any additional commentary?
This is a new plan. It's much as the electrical plan that you originally amended. With this in place, we'll be able to go out and get some quotes for natural gas and see if aggregation will save our residents any money.
Thank you.
And we certainly move the approval again and hope that will achieve the savings for our residents.
Thank you. Moved by the Vice President. Second, please.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scrivens. Discussion or question on this motion, please. I think just a small clarification. I'm sure the audience and others have heard this, but just in case. By moving forward with this, we're not committing to a purchase of natural gas. We are essentially going through the process of putting into place a process to seek bids and, if advantageous, move forward for the citizens if there's a clear opportunity to save money.
Correct, sir.
Any other discussion, please?
I think this, Mr. President, I think this was originally talked about by Councilman Lauterbach, and I'd like to thank him for moving the ball down the field on this issue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other discussion, please? Seeing none, roll call.
Vice President Wallace.
Aye.
Councilman Scrivens.
Aye.
Councilman Lauterbach.
Aye.
Councilman Smith.
Aye.
Councilman Dean.
Aye.
Mayor Mays.
Aye.
President Engel.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. And now Resolution 2018-D, a second reading, designating the city clerk as council's designee for the purpose of complying with Ohio's Sunshine Law training requirements, originally introduced by Councilman Scrivens. Any additional commentary?
The clerk has been acting in this capacity for council since 2014. You've been appointing her every year by administrative motion. Doing a formal resolution is something that we can file with the auditor, and it sticks. You won't have to come back every year and reappoint her to do that. So this just formalizes the process you already have in place.
Thank you. Councilman Scrivens?
Move for passage, Mr. President.
Thank you. Moved by Councilman Scrivens. Second, please.
Second.
Seconded by the mayor. Discussion or question on this motion, please. My thanks to you, Madam Law Director. We have been doing this for some time just by administrative motion, and I appreciate you researching this and finding a better way that we can do business with less administration every year. Any other discussion, please? Seeing none, roll call.
Vice President Wallace?
Aye.
Councilman Scrivens?
Aye.
Councilman Lauterbach?
Aye.
Councilman Smith?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Mayor Mays?
Aye.
President Engel?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. We now have an opportunity for public hearings, but we have none scheduled this evening. Our next item is new business. The first item is ordinance 2018-06, granting a 0.193 acre standard highway easement along US 68 to the state of Ohio, and declaring it to be an emergency. Mr. Acting City Manager, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Ohio Department of Transportation is requesting that the city grant this easement in order to facilitate the rehabilitation of the bridge over Massey Creek right there on 68. This is adjacent to the city's water treatment plant. The easement is along the western edge of the bridge and varies in width from 45 to 35 feet. ODOT has made a good faith offer for the highway easement to the city in the amount of $1,178. The offer is based upon an appraisal that was completed in anticipation of this project. Given that this particular location has no intrinsic value for the city of Xenia and to the city's water treatment plant located on the property, city staff has no objection to accepting this good faith offer. In order for ODOT to proceed with the work as soon as possible, city staff requests that this ordinance be adopted as an emergency. I also want to note that the attached legal description in your packets for the standard highway easement will be amended by ODOT at our request to account for the city's water main which traverses the area. The city manager will not sign any such agreements until the law director has reviewed and approved the amended legal description protecting our city's water main. Additionally, I also want to note that this is city-owned property. It's located outside of the city limits, but that doesn't change anything with the council's request for action.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion, please, as an emergency?
So moved.
Moved as an emergency by the Vice President. Second, please.
Second that.
Seconded by Councilman Dean. Discussion or question on the motion, please. Was that you? Oh, Smith. I'm sorry.
I thought it had to be-
My ears are also still quite
No,
plugged up.
Okay.
Terribly sorry. Let the record state Councilman Engel's ears are plugged. And it was Councilman Smith who did in fact second the
I
motion.
just changed it to Dean, but I'll make it Smith again. Okay. All right.
Any discussion or question on the motion, please? Seeing none, roll call.
Vice President Wallace?
Aye.
Councilman Scrivens?
Aye.
Councilman Lauterbach?
Aye.
Councilman Smith?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Mayor Mays?
Aye.
President Engel?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Next, we have Resolution 2018-E, requested as an emergency, requesting the advance payment of tax settlements for the 2018 calendar year from the Greene County Auditor and declaring it an emergency. Mr. Finance Director.
Yeah, this is something that we request on an annual basis. It's a resolution that we submit to the county auditor, and it allows us to receive those dollars that the county auditor collects on our behalf a little earlier in the process. So as soon as that money's available, we'd like to collect it, potentially gain a little more interest on it, and it improves our cash flow. So,
Thank you very much. May I have a motion, please, as an emergency?
So moved. Go ahead.
Moved by Councilman Lauterbach, seconded by the mayor. Any discussion or question on this motion, please? Seeing none, roll call.
Vice President Walls.
Aye.
Councilman Scrivens.
Aye.
Councilman Lauterbach.
Aye.
Councilman Smith.
Aye.
Councilman Dean.
Aye.
Mayor Mays.
Aye.
President Engel.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. And finally, under new business, no, not finally, excuse me. Next is a resolution 2018-F, which authorizes the city manager to execute a 3-year economic development revolving loan fund administration agreement with the Ohio Development Services Agency for the use of the Community Development Block Grant Program income. Mr. Acting City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. President. Staff is requesting City Council adopt a resolution as required by the state of Ohio to authorize the city manager to execute this 3-year Economic Development Revolving Loan Fund Administration Agreement with the Ohio Development Services Agency, ODSA. This is a newer agreement as of 2015 and governs the reporting and governance of our Economic Development Program income. As part of the city's agreement with ODSA, the city is required to have in place a plan of governance which includes extensive policies and procedures to govern the actions and authorities of the committees and city officials associated with the administration of these programs. Staff is working with ODSA to finalize the plan components and will have the plan of governance complete and in place prior to the agreement's execution.
Thank you very much. May I have an introduction of the item, please?
Mr. President, on behalf of the EDAB, I would move. Steve, is this something that the EDAB has already considered or is about to consider when we ultimately meet?
No, this actually deals with the community development block grant funds. Basically, when we did the downtown facades in 2015, we requested and received approval from ODSA to use housing program income for an economic development purpose, which was the facade improvements, and that's what put this in motion. So all of the parts and pieces, these various policies have been in place. Essentially what we have to do to meet the requirements of HUD and of ODSA is to kind of compile them into one policy manual, if you will. So it's nothing new. It's nothing that we haven't been doing. It's really just a compilation of saying, this is how the Loan Trust Committee works, and this is how it works with these particular funds.
Okay.
Thank you. Would you like to introduce?
I'll start to do.
Thank you. Introduced by the Vice President. We have one new item for new business that was left on our table. It is a ratification of collective bargaining agreement with the Green Central Communications Operators Association. Mr. Acting City Manager.
Thank you. As previously discussed with members of City Council, staff has been in the collective bargaining process with the members of Green Central Communications Operators Association, or 911 dispatchers, and negotiating within parameters established by City Council. Through the productive series of negotiations, both parties reached an agreement, and the union has already ratified the contract. Staff recommends City Council authorize execution of the contract under the terms and conditions as provided in the report to you this evening.
Thank you. May I have a motion, please, to approve the contract?
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Lauterbach. Second, please.
Second.
Seconded by the mayor. Discussion or question on the motion, please?
Mr. President,
Yes.
I'd like to compliment our staff on this. I understand they worked very diligently to hammer out a good agreement that everybody could live with. And we find out that they break new ground with this agreement, and they actually moved the ball down the field. And we appreciate that. I see both our chief of services are here, and I'd like to hear from them before I cast my vote, if that would be all right, sir.
Thank you.
Probably appropriate that I be the one to speak, because not only was I on the negotiating team, but communications falls under my direct command. Yeah, this was a very good negotiations. We went into this with some goals in terms of where our staffing and salaries were for our district communications center. We realized over the last few years that while the dispatchers, along with the other services, had accepted 0 raises and that type of thing, we had fallen behind a little bit in the salaries we were offering, and we're beginning to have some significant problems in staffing adequately. So we made some decisions that we brought to you as council. You gave us the authority to do that. We had very good negotiations with the new union leader there, and we were able to come to an agreement that fell within those parameters. So we're very happy with the outcome of that, and you know, we also made some other headway in terms of attendance policies and some other things that we got in there that strengthens labor, or strengthens the city's position on how we handle certain things.
Yeah, Mr. President, I just think that all the way around, I think all parties are happy with this agreement. And therefore, we're all working together and moving the ball down the field, and that's what we're about. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other
Thanks, Chief.
discussion or question on the motion, please? Seeing none, roll call.
Vice President Wallace?
Aye.
Councilman Scrivens?
aye.
Councilman Lauterbach?
Aye.
Councilman Smith?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Mayor Mays?
Aye.
President Engel?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Now we will move to the section on administrative motions for our new business. The first is authorizing the city manager to purchase a 2018 Fire Division staff vehicle from Lebanon Ford through the state of Ohio's Cooperative Purchasing Program. May I have a motion, please?
I will make that motion, but I would request information just to, we don't have a Ford dealership, obviously, in
Yeah.
Xenia, but I'm always curious to make sure that we've exhausted efforts to see if we can buy it locally and
Yeah.
just check that effort out.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you.
previously, I think, I bought these from Key Chrysler. They used to have a cooperative purchasing program through the state bid. They don't have that department anymore, so we had to purchase, or we're planning to purchase them from Lebanon Ford, who still has that department. Because we purchased through the state's, cooperative purchasing program, we get a lot cheaper price than we could if we went out and tried to buy it on our own.
But we did the best we could in terms of trying to buy locally.
Yep, it's as local as we can get.
So you're making the motion?
Yes, yes.
Okay, moved by the Vice President. Second, please.
I'd second that, Mr. President.
Seconded by Councilman Scrivens. Any additional discussion or question on the motion, please? Roll call, please.
Vice President Wallace?
Aye.
Councilman Scrivens?
Aye.
Councilman Lauterbach?
Aye.
Councilman Smith?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Mayor Mays?
Aye.
President Engel?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Next item is a request for motion to authorize the city manager to purchase 4 marked SUVs and 1 unmarked police sedan from Lebanon Ford through the state of Ohio's Cooperative Purchasing Program for the annual police vehicle replacements. May I have a motion, please?
The same motion would apply. I'll move that we go forward with that. And of course, the same question would apply. And I presume the same answers would apply.
Thank you. Second, please.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Councilman Smith. See, I was watching this time so I could see you make a motion. I was trying to listen out of the corner of my ear. Any discussion or question on this motion past the councilman's question?
Would the chief of service like to speak?
No, I was waiting for Councilman Lauterbach's questions. If you need me or the city manager would address it.
Oh.
I was just going to make a comment.
Oh, please.
Oh, okay. I want to piggyback on what the vice president, we've always tried to buy local, as the chief knows. It's my understanding on these vehicles, Key Chrysler doesn't even bid on them anymore. Is that correct?
They had a fleet
Yeah, the fleet manager.
They had a fleet management program. They generally did a bid through Hamilton County that matched the state. And because they did that, we were able to go to them and get the same pricing from them as we were able to from the state. 2 years ago, they discontinued that program. The gentleman who ran that fleet retired. At the time, Mr. Toby decided that he no longer wanted, without somebody to actually run that for him, he no longer wanted to do that. So we started going back to the state bidder who has been Lebanon for the same years. And that changes each year because there's always a new dealership that's trying to get the business for that year.
Again, like the vice president said, we always, this council tries to go local whenever we can.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And we've always complied with that.
Any other discussion or question on the motion, please?
Yes, sir. I'd just like the public to note that one of these vehicles we're replacing, it dates back to 2002. I mean, that's pretty ancient.
Is it paid for yet?
It's, I hope. And then, most of them are going back to 13 or 14, but, I mean, 118,000 miles, that's a lot on a 4-year-old.
And really,
vehicle.
if you look at, because all the Ford Explorers have engine clocks on them, and all these pretty much, I think except one, have 20+ thousand hours. That equates to 25 miles per hour, which is equivalent to you or I driving 500,000 miles on a car.
Yeah.
So we get our usefulness out of these cars. We take them as far as we can before they get too expensive for us.
Thank you for that additional clarification. I'm sure that is very enlightening for everyone.
Right.
Just to know that we are doing our level best to keep costs down, but ensure that we have the proper vehicles available and ready should we ever need them. Thank you. Any other discussion or question on the motion, please? Seeing none, roll call.
Vice President Wallace.
Aye.
Councilman Scrivens.
Aye.
Councilman Lauterbach.
Aye.
Councilman Smith.
Aye.
Councilman Dean.
Aye.
Mayor Mays.
Aye.
President Engel.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. And now a request for motion to authorize the city manager to execute work order number 2018-01 with Amick Foster Willer for landfill post-closure groundwater monitoring for 2018 under the existing master services agreement. Mr. Acting City Manager, please.
Thank you. So as you are all aware, there's ongoing Ohio EPA requirements revolving the city's closed landfill. City staff has requested council's authorization on this previous, requesting council's authorization to continue monitoring the groundwater at the 23 groundwater monitoring wells there throughout 2018. In accordance with the groundwater monitoring plan, monitoring report will be submitted to the city within 65 days and to the EPA within 75 days of the first sampling. AMEC Foster Wheeler has performed groundwater monitoring at the closed landfill since 1996, so they have a wide breadth of knowledge that offers unique insight and capacity relative to our landfill. Although this falls under a current existing master services agreement, staff is requesting council authorize the city manager to execute this work order with AMEC Foster Wheeler, since the amount of the work order is $29,826 in total.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion, please, to authorize the city manager?
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Lauterbach. Second, please.
Second.
Seconded by the Vice President. Any discussion or question on this motion, please?
Mr. President, if I
Yes.
may. Mr. Assistant City Manager, on page 7, on this, I'd like to call your attention to that first paragraph as it ends. Says submitted to the Greene County Combined Health Department. It's Public Health of Greene County. That's the proper
Correct. Yep, they also
nomenclature
get
for
a
that.
copy of that.
And also on page 7, where we have the assumptions, the assumptions of these associated costs for field work, associated costs for revisions in the groundwater monitoring plans, cost updating the background sheets and putting it on a disc. Who picks up those costs, sir? Those are not stipulated within the contract.
All these, so they go out and test the groundwater twice. It's a semi-annual in the spring and the fall.
Right.
And those add up to the annual 29,000. So that's all included in this, under the master agreement, but included under this work order specifically.
Okay. And then one other comment. I had not seen the last report that they provide to the city regarding what's in the groundwater in terms of possible contaminants and everything. And being a registered sanitarian, that's kind of right down my alley.
Yeah.
So if I could get the last one that we had, would be probably last fall. And
Correct.
I understand we're going to do one this spring. If I could get that, then I'd be able to connect a couple of dots here. So.
Yeah, I can get that for you. It's a lot of chemistry language, so
Yeah.
hopefully you
I was a
understand
biology
it,
and
but-
chemistry major. That's why I asked. I'm looking at the volatile organic compounds, and I'm looking at, are they moving, that determines potential metric. Are they moving toward our aquifer? And does it go contaminate our aquifer? So I want to know what these chemicals are doing. That's why they measure down gradient from where we have our landfill.
Yep, yeah, I can get that for you.
All right, sir, I appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Any other discussion or question on the motion, please? Seeing none, roll call.
Vice President Wallace.
Aye.
Councilman Scrivens.
Aye.
Councilman Lauterbach.
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Or Councilman Smith?
Yep, I was next. Aye.
We're all getting them confused tonight. Mayor Mays?
Aye.
And President Engel?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Did you get a vote?
Aye.
Oh, I thought he did vote. So,
It was,
gotcha.
good.
We're good.
Glad to know it's not just me this evening. Okay, let's see. The last item? No.
We have administrative motion.
Not even close yet. Next item is authorizing the city manager to execute a contract with Dixon Engineering and Company at a cost not to exceed $87,395 for the inspection services associated with the 2018 water tower painting project. Mr. Acting City Manager.
Thank you. The City of Xenia Public Service Department plans to award a contract for painting of the 1 million gallon Patton Street and the 3 million gallon Second Street water towers later this spring. In anticipation of this project, the city first needs to contract with a painting inspection firm that has professionals who possess the knowledge and experience to provide inspection services prior to and throughout the whole painting process of both of these water towers. In January 23, the city received 2 proposals from qualified firms with the experience to inspect the painting of the water towers. Dixon Engineering has extensive experience in performing this particular function. So staff recommends council authorize the city manager to execute a contract with this firm in a not to exceed amount of $87,395.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion, please, to authorize the city manager?
Proudly, Mr. President, that's in my voting precinct. So I would definitely move that we approve this.
Thank you. A second, please.
Second.
Seconded by the mayor?
That's right.
Yes, that's right. Any discussion or question on the motion, please? Seeing none, roll call.
Vice President Wallace?
Aye.
Councilman Scrivens?
Aye.
Councilman Lauterbach?
Aye.
Councilman Smith?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Mayor Mays?
Aye.
President Engel?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. And now, please, a motion to approve our schedule of bills in the amount of $289,241.56.
So moved, Mr. President.
Moved by Councilman Lauterbach. Second, please.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Dean. Any discussion or question on the motion, please?
Just one, Mr. President.
Yes.
I see we have American Structure Point. They did some type of improvements there at the intersection of East Church and US 42. And they must have done a real good job. Stop the complaints about potholes.
Thank you. Any other discussion or question, please? Seeing none, roll call.
Vice President Wallace?
Aye.
Councilman Scrivens?
Aye.
Councilman Lauterbach?
Aye.
Councilman Smith?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Mayor Mays?
Aye.
President Engel?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. At this time, we have an opportunity for reports of committees. First, the Board of Zoning Appeals. Its January meeting was canceled. Mayor Mays, do you have anything to add?
No, sir, I do not. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is the Board for Recreation, Arts, and Cultural Activities, which I chair. I have a brief report as well. This was the first meeting of the year for BRCA. We welcomed a new member, Mr. Tom McCarthy, to the board, and we are excited to see the contributions that he will make. We went over old business items regarding Hometown Christmas, the reviews of which were excellent. We wanted to add our special congratulations that we had passed on to Keith Cook already, but to the larger city staff for their exceptional support getting the Santa House together. Many, many favorable compliments. It's been a long day. Favorable compliments were received about that particular edition. I'm sure it will become a staple of Hometown Christmases to come. I'll give just a very brief overview of what is up on the docket for BRCA this year for Xenia. The Youth Recreation Basketball League is in progress right now and will continue through March of this year. Is in full swing. There are 5 boys teams, 4 girls teams, and 22 cheerleaders which are participating in Saturday morning and early afternoon activities. If you would like to see some of our youth play some very good basketball and have a good time and learn about camaraderie and sportsmanship, please consider coming to Benner Fieldhouse on Saturday mornings, I believe starting at 9 o'clock. The Easter egg hunt is coming up. It will be March the 31st, the day before Easter, and that will be at Shawnee Park. We will have an Arbor Day event on April the 27th. That will be at the Shawnee Schools. Volunteers are needed both for the Easter egg hunt and for the Arbor Day event. If anyone is interested in supporting that, if you would please contact the city clerk at city and indicate your interest. That would be greatly appreciated by the BRCA committee. Other things are going on for future events. Bloom with Xenia, the fishing derby in June. We will have community gardens again available for $20 for rent throughout the season. We will have perhaps a music in the park event this week or this year. We are considering that as a group that was suspended in 2017 for basically lack of a large community interest in the event. And then finally, rounding out the year, we'll have Hometown Christmas 2018. And that will be the Saturday following Thanksgiving. That is the completion of my report. Are there any questions, please, for BRCA? Seeing none, we'll move to the next report, which is the Traffic Commission. Councilman Dean, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. We met on 2/5/18, and we were processing a complaint from some residents for people parking on a yellow line up against a curb at the school on Park Drive in Edison. So we went over some solutions with the engineering department and with the police department, and we came up with a solution that we'll bring forward to council, I think, at the next meeting.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Traffic Commission and Councilman Dean?
Mr. President.
Yes.
I've noticed that recently we've switched to blinking lights on the intersections of Lower Bell and Allison, and also North Detroit at Wilson. That's a very good do. There's not that much cross traffic. Cross traffic doesn't have that much priority as far as I'm concerned. Both of them are straightaways, and they're both coming up and down a grade, and people entering those intersections can figure that out. I don't think we should go back to the old red, yellow, green light for both those intersections. Had two complaints this week. One was up and down Stelton Road, even though the snow was out there. It says we need to probably put 25-mile-an-hour signs on some poles to let the residents know that 40 and 50 miles an hour is pretty much not tolerated. Other than that, Mr. President, that was pretty much my comment.
Thank you very much. Any other comments or questions, please? Just a clarification for my part, and Councilman Dean, you may be familiar. I think it is the habit of the city, those two locations that you mentioned, going to a blinking yellow. Is that generally speaking when we're expecting inclement weather, or is this planned for a permanent change? Yes. Okay. Should you have interest in, and there are people that are interested in changing the nature of this.
Seems traffic flows a lot better when those lights are blinking. Just
certainly
commenting from my empirical analysis. So.
Certainly a potential item for discussion at a future traffic meeting.
Councilman Scrivens.
Thank you.
Traffic flows better.
Thank you, sir.
Anything else for the Traffic Commission, please? And finally, Planning and Zoning. The February meeting was canceled. Anything to add, Councilman Smith?
Thank you, Mr. President. That's actually our first cancellation in quite a while. Our next scheduled meeting is March 1st.
Thank you very much. Anything for Planning and Zoning? Seeing none, we'll move to appointed official reports and council comments. Mr. Acting City Manager.
Thanks. I just wanted to take a moment and publicly thank our public service employees for the job they're doing. It's not an easy job, and oftentimes they're only recognized when people complain or have a problem or they're making a mistake or something. But throughout the winter, they work long hours and plow the snow when they don't even know how much snow's coming, fix water mains, and provide services for myself and other residents in the city. just especially thinking about that while I was watching the Super Bowl, knowing they're out there plowing snow. It's not a fun thing to miss, but so want to send my thanks to them. Also wanted to pass on my condolences to the previous city manager, David Spar, and his family in his passing. Although I never met him, I'm thankful for the work he's done, and it makes my job a little easier knowing good people have come before me. Also wanted to thank you guys all for your kind words last meeting about the birth of my second daughter. All was well, eventful birth, but we're enjoying familyhood of 4 now, so thank you.
Thank you. Anything for our city manager, please? Seeing none, Mr. Finance Director.
I have nothing else this evening.
Thank you. Anything for our Finance Director, please? Madam Law Director.
I have one interesting, I guess, bit of Xenia trivia I wanted to share with you this evening.
Thank you.
We recently had a question come up, something I was helping the fire department work on. As you know, the town was founded in 1803 when John Vance surveyed and laid out the town. The question had come up, when were we actually incorporated as a municipal corporation? I did a little research, and the original petition for incorporation, this is a scanned copy of it, is in the special collections of Wright State University. I went over, they have the original document. This petition was prepared on March 24th, 1817. There were 88 households in the town at the time, and there are 66 signatures on this petition. This was filed with the Greene County Common Pleas Court on July 21st of 1817. And by order of the court, we were incorporated as a municipal corporation on the 4th, this was how they wrote it in the court records, on the 4th Monday of October in the year of our Lord, 1817. And looking at the old calendars, we were officially incorporated as a city on October 27th of 1817. So just wanted to share that little bit of research with you.
Thank you very much. Very interesting. Anything for our Law Director, please?
May I?
Please.
You get an A.
I have copies of all of it.
Now, that they did not teach us in Ohio history, so very good.
It was the court records, all the old Greene County Common Pleas records are out at the county
Right,
archives. And they were unbelievably helpful, helping me pull and made me a copy of the court entry. So I have all that if anyone would like to see it.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, items from Mayor and City Council. Councilman Lauterbach, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just one item tonight. I'm glad the chief person is here. In the last 4 to 6 weeks, I've got several calls from people who had their cars broken into. It's in the past, I've proposed we have neighborhood watches. Nothing has ever materialized from that. So I just wonder what the possibility of us having the people that have their cars broken into. I asked them, would you be willing to have a neighborhood watch in your neighborhood? And all of them say yes. I know the police can only do so much, but this winter's been, normally we have car break-ins in the summer, but normally this last 4 to 6 weeks, it has been prevalent. So I didn't know if the chief, if you could comment on neighborhood watches. And another question, do we have a curfew in the city of Xenia?
We have a curfew on the books. It essentially is unenforceable. We have to charge them as an unruly delinquent. So there's been some constitutionality issues. So we have tread lightly on that issue so that we didn't lose that, because we still use it from time to time and call parents and ask them to come pick up their kids if they're out after curfew and that kind of stuff. But we don't charge people with that because of those issues. In terms of neighborhood watch groups, we currently have 3 active groups. Our officers are more than willing to, anytime anybody calls, and we actually solicit it. Quite frankly, with as busy as people are these days, we find it hard to find 4 or 5 people in the neighborhood who will take on that role. Generally, we can find 1 or 2, but you generally need to get a core and a neighborhood where you've got some people who are willing to take that role. And Those four, if you can get four, those four can create an atmosphere where they're, through phone trees or whatever, they can get a lot done. But it's just that people are so busy outside of where they live that it's hard to get it done. But we are more than happy to start new groups, and I've got officers that would be eager to because we have different officers assigned to each group.
Who would one call?
Just the police department.
Okay.
Captain Lane would get that to our sergeant who runs those, and we would assign an officer to it, and we would be more than happy to have this happen and make those grow. If I may digress for just a second, it was mentioned the passing of David Spar, former city manager. I was fortunate enough to work with Mr. Spar as a young sergeant who became the administrative sergeant. We had a charter issue back then, some of you may remember, that anything over $500 had to come before council. So literally, if I was buying ammo or a dozen pair of pants or a lot of things, so we were at every council meeting, and I was designated by Chief Altman at that time to be the scribe, if you will, and had to write all those agenda items. And David Spar took me under his wing, and I really considered him a mentor. And he would sit down, and David was an engineer by trade, by education, and he was meticulous. And he could have taken the agenda items, rewrote them, given them back to me, and said, here's what you do. But he didn't do that. He set me down every time, and we made changes together, and he would explain to me why he made changes and why this was better in terms of the language, and he didn't want to confuse council this way, and making sure that things were in order and that type of thing. And it was a pleasure to work with him. He was always even-tempered, and I really appreciate he took this young sergeant and gave me the skills I have to stop it. Gave me the skills I have today, and I appreciate wanting his family to know that.
Amen.
Thank you
very much, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
And my condolences to the family also. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Smith.
I have nothing this evening.
Thank you. Councilman Scrivens.
Mr. President, thank you. Deepest sympathy for the Spar family. I too knew Mr. Spar back when he was city manager, and Mr. Percival was assistant city manager, and we had a charter review committee then, and new charter was forged and passed. And Mr. Spar was a regular attendee of the Xenia boys basketball games and the football games, and I see a few of his friends there, so I know the guys that he sit with will definitely miss him. So deepest sympathy for the Spar family. Mr. Spar was a good man, and he was a good city manager. He knew his business, so I have utmost respect for him. One other thing, Mr. President, I had received one letter, didn't sign it, but they sent it, and says to Marion City Council, says one of the issues we must contend with as owners of a downtown business is the lack of convenient parking for our customers. Says this problem can be exacerbated by people parking on the street for long periods of time. Says they recently were visited by representatives of the city police and development departments, good going fellas, and told that the plan to install modern parking meters along Main Street and Detroit Street. Says these are the people, right? And says they're understanding that these meters will provide flexibility for people who need to park for short periods of time, while also allowing for more efficient enforcement of the parking than the current chalking method that Officer Barlow uses. Says this will help ensure greater turnover for on-street parking and more spaces available for customers. Says while any changes are difficult to adapt, says we believe this investment in the central business district will have long-term benefits. Says they are supportive of the proposed changes, and they ask for support of the legislation to implement them if that has to happen. So just wanted to say that help is on the way. We're going to solve the parking, we're going to solve the potholes, and Xenia is still someplace special, and people still believe in one another, and they may disagree, but they still work together. And that's what I like about being a Xenia. I did have one other comment that was about loud music, people going up and down the streets, and as the chief says, it's pretty much unenforceable, but when it shakes your house going up and down the street, somebody's got to say something, so at least I'm saying something. And there we have it. So just wanted to put that out there. I have been met with a couple of downtown business owners, and they want to us to come up with whatever we can to drive foot traffic downtown Xenia. People have to be on foot to come in and spend money. And, you know, I see Blue Jacket Books has decided to hang up the Spurs. I did talk to Dr. Lawrence Hammer, the proprietor, and he says Xenia's just not a book town. Well, Xenia is a book town because we're going to all go out and buy some books at Blue Jacket Books and support Dr. Hammer and his wife, Kat. We want business in Xenia, we have to buy in Xenia. I mean, you can't get around what is. So if everybody can go buy a couple of books, I personally went and bought 3 and, you know, help the man out. Don't talk a good game, go play one. Then let me see what you do when you're playing. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilman Dean.
I just have a comment about the Greene County Archives. I think last year, it may have been 2 years ago, but they received a national award for actually being one of the best archives around. So they are very good. If you need to look anything up, go in there, they'll help you.
Thank you.
That's it.
Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President. On January 27th, it was a Saturday, the Rapid Fire Pizza began business, and I just wanted to say how much we enjoyed it, and if you haven't had a chance to try it yet, please do. We may have had it several times since then. It's really good. On that same evening, that Saturday evening, I was honored to participate in the St. Bridget Schools Spaghetti Dinner to kick off the National Catholic School Week. It was a lot of fun, and we had so much fun. I went back on the 30th to enjoy a pep rally with the students, the kindergarten through 8th grade, and we read the proclamation and we went over some of the big words and we all cheered Go Irish, and it was a lot of fun. So I was very thankful for their invitation to join them. And on the 29th, I was able to participate in a lunch with several area mayors and some state officials, and it was a very profitable lunch. We were able to talk about, I was able to bring up one of the subjects about foster care in Ohio and the desperate need that we have in some of our larger counties for foster parents and how we can see the system work together better. There's a lot of private agencies and county agencies, and we struggle in Ohio to work together to provide good homes for children. And so it was very exciting to see how we could possibly start educating the public and working together at the state level to see some of those changes happen. And I just want to personally say, if there are people watching who are ever interested in foster care, I would be happy to personally talk to you. My husband and I have been participating for the last 7 years. And in fact, we had one little girl that we have in our home right now. Her first birthday was this past Sunday, and we were able to have a wonderful birthday party with her family. And a lot of people will say foster care, it might be too hard, but the blessings that you receive from doing it is beyond anything you can possibly imagine, and it is worth every tear I've ever shed. So I just want to personally say, please contact me, email me. I would love to answer your questions. And it was a good lunch to be a part of to see if we can get some more movement at the state level. So
Thank
that's
you.
all I have.
Mr. Vice President.
I've got a question for the mayor. Where is EXAC on Tuesday?
The next EXAC meeting, which is the Xenia Area Association of Churches and Ministries, is at Emmanuel Baptist Church on Tuesday, 1120 South Detroit Street.
Okay, very good. Because I was thinking about the egg hunt. We've got a little planning time yet for that. And I did want to get the chief back, which is one more time. Chief of Police. We got both chiefs here tonight, and it's good to have them both in the audience. But I don't know whether we've actually had you here since Christmas and your light show. But since we do have you here tonight, let us give you a formal thank you and congratulations, and we certainly appreciate the work you do and all of the effort that you expended in the light show. That I don't get down there, but I heard about it since.
I'm down there every other night with children. My kids have been asking. My kids already miss it. They've been asking, why are the lights gone from the park, and when are they coming back? And I've said it to you before, I will say it publicly. As a mother of young children, I can't thank you enough. It's just something that, it helps us get through winter.
Right. Thank you. I've already started planning for next year. I am toying with the idea of maybe doing a Halloween display just for a couple days. As you knew at my house, I did a week of Halloween.
Yes,
I'm
we know.
really doing it as an excuse to get the lights up 3 weeks sooner so that it's still warmer. But that would be one way of doing it. But thank you very much. I appreciate it. It was I won't say it was a joy this year because it was so much work because of the first year, but I expect it to be a joy next year because that groundwork has been laid. And did end up with a group of young men and women who were just a godsend at the end. What I thought was going to take 3 days to take down the majority of the lights. Some of them are still up on the high parts. We'll get those when the snow goes away. But they helped me, and we took everything down in 6.5 hours. So that was a great load off my mind. So that was the Frontier Trucking Club, and I appreciate them for helping me out there. But thank you very much.
Awesome. Well, we've got you up here. One of my other hats is, as you know, I'm also adjunct faculty at Wilberforce University, and I'm sure that Victor Jones could probably provide you some manpower from the student body there at Wilberforce to help you put together some of those neighborhood watch groups. When I was a student back at UK down in Kentucky, we worked to put together neighborhood watch groups in both the social work department and helping neighborhoods to put together neighborhood watch groups with the police department. So that was something that we worked on. So it might be something that Captain Lane, I know he's a Wilberforce graduate, would be very interested in.
Yeah, and Captain Lane has stayed active with the group there for just discussion between our police department and that university setting. I think we both benefit from that. So I appreciate that he does that.
Fantastic. Yeah. And one last thing, I had the privilege of getting to work with David Spar at the Grace Chapel Church as an election officer for several years. He was our judge at that election office, and he taught me everything the way Xenia does things. I was familiar with the way Kentucky did things in Lexington, Kentucky, but David put my boots on about the way things happen in Xenia and here at City Hall. In fact, it was a part of the motivation outside of the mayor of my running for council and being involved with city politics here, because he was a great guy and just great, just really, really informed about everything going on here. So it was great to know. And
he was always a great advocate for Xenia.
Oh yes, yeah. Oh yes. So thank you for your comments about him. But you said it when you say he's informed and articulate. He knows his newest stuff. I guess we should say that at this point. Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate you, Chief. I think that's it. We've got the EXAC meeting, of course, we'll be planning now for the egg hunt and so forth. That's one of the jobs that the mayor's trying to pass off.
Will be passing off.
So,
Delegating.
But she has to do more of that as she takes on more responsibilities as mayor. So we had that. I think that's all I had. But thanks to everybody who does so much for Xenia.
Thank you. For me, I just have two quick comments. One adding to comments already from the Vice President about the light show and also from the Mayor about the light show. It truly did reach more than Xenia. I, of course, my full-time day job is out at Wright-Patterson. I had many, many people from my organization stop by and say, hey, we've heard there's a great light show in Xenia. Where is it, and is it worthwhile to go look at? And I had then many people come back to me afterwards and say, we drove by it, it was awesome.
Yeah, it was a knockout.
So it reached far beyond just our borders of the city. So again, congratulations and our thanks to you, Chief. And finally, just my personal condolences as well to the David Spar family. David and his wife are members of my church for a long time, well, long as I was there at Faith Community United Methodist. And he was truly an exceptional man and a great mentor, as has been already described. So my personal and family's condolences to the Spar family. Unless there's anything else business for us this evening, I would seek a motion to adjourn.
I just have one comment for the law director. Do we need to change that plaque up there?
No, we were founded as a town in 1803. We didn't
Didn't get
formally
chartered.
become a municipal corporation until
Oh,
1817.
I misunderstood. Thank you.
Okay? Seek a motion to adjourn then, please.
So moved.
Moved
I'll
by
second.
Councilman Lauterbach, seconded by Councilman Smith. Roll call, please.
Vice President Wallace,
Aye.
Councilman Scrivens,
Aye.
Councilman Lauterbach,
Aye.
Councilman Smith,
Aye.
Councilman Dean,
Aye.
Mayor Mays,
Aye.
President Engel.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you very much.